Hello everyone and welcome to my video on how to create your own formable nations in Europa Universalis IV. I decided to create this video because whenever I was trying to create my own mod, I was having trouble finding resources online on how to make your own nations. And personally, I do a lot better with visual aid, like watching a video on someone else doing it so I can just kind of follow the steps, and I couldn't really find anything out like that out there. So, because of that, I decided to make my own video to help other people out there who are trying to make their own nations and mod the game. So, first things first, you're going to want to download the program Notepad++. There are a couple text files that require something more powerful than just the regular Notepad that comes with Windows. And it's a neat little program that's just all around better than the regular Notepad. So if you haven't downloaded Notepad++ yet, go ahead and do that. If you have downloaded it, then we're going to go ahead and go in and set up your mod file so we can start changing the game. So you're going to want to go to your Paradox Interactive folder, which is going to be under your documents right here. And then you're going to want to go to Europa Universalis. And there should be a folder that has mod. If there isn't a folder here that says mod, you can go ahead and create your own folder and just name it mod, no caps or anything, and go ahead and open that folder. And if you already have mods to your game, then you'll find them here in this folder. Like you can see here, I have Extended Timeline and a bunch of other ones. But if you don't have any mods in here, then you probably had to create the mod file yourself, which is totally fine. So what we're going to do here is I already have a folder here from my mod. It's the Dynamic Colonial Experience mod on Steam. So my folder's already here, but when you're going to create your own mod, you want to create a new folder. Name it whatever the mod name is, no spaces. And so then go ahead and rename it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one just because we won't need it. And open it. Now, actually go back. Come back here. So, the game recognizes your mod through two files. It has the mod folder, which actually has the change to game data inside of it. And then it also has an MOD file, which essentially tells the game the name of the mod and where it can find the data for the mod. So after you create your folder, we're also going to want to create a MOD file. This is easy to do. All you're going to do is go to New, and then we're going to go down here to Text Document. That's fine. And then we're going to edit with Notepad++. Now, I'm going to go to minimize this. There's only 2 lines that you need in an MOD file. I'm going to go ahead and open up this one here. You don't need to worry about this because these are only if you upload it to Steam in the workshop. But all you're going to have is the name exactly like this. Name equals, and then whatever you want your actual mod name to be, how you want it to be represented in the game. So you can have spaces here in quotations, and then the path will be exactly like this, mod / and then whatever the folder name is. Not this name, but the folder name. And then, like I said, you don't have to worry about these lines here. Make sure there are no spaces, exactly like you see here. And then whenever you finish this, you're going to want to open it in Notepad++ like I did. You're going to go here to save as, and then save it as an MOD file. So I'll kind of show you here. We'll go into this one. We'll call it name equals my test mod, path equals mod / my test mod. We'll pretend like I created a folder called my test mod. So we'll come we'll come here, save as. We'll save it as the same name as the folder. So my test mod .mod. Oops, there we go. Save. And then here it is, my test mod as an MOD file. And that's all you need for that. If you're wanting to upload your mod to Steam, then if you actually go to the Steam client, it'll have instructions on what you need to do in the mod file to actually make it compatible with Steam. But if you're just wanting it for yourself, then this is perfect. So I'm going to delete these because I don't need them. So now we're going to go on to actually modding the game. No. So open up your folder. Mine is more formable nations. Ugh. And it should be empty. Mine's not because it's already an existing mod. You won't need these two files here, but what we will need are these folders here. Now, we're going to grab them from the actual game files. The whole point, you're going to go back all these ways, blah, 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 blah. We're going to go to your local hard drive or wherever you have your actual Steam. Oops, mine's on my C drive. You're going to go to your actual program files into your Steam files to grab actual game data. So, program files, mine is under x86, Steam, Steam apps, common. You should have all your Steam games here that you have installed on your computer. I'm lame and only have 2. So open up your Europa file. Here are the actual game files. And we don't want to actually alter any of these because it'll alter the game state. And we don't want to do that because that'll kind of break the game for us. That's why we made the mod. But we do need some files from here. So we're going to go into common. We need countries, country colors, country tags. If you want to create your own culture for a country, you can go ahead and grab cultures. We'll need all of those. Believe that's it. Yeah, so go ahead and copy these 4. I'm going to open up another thingy. So you're going to want to create a common folder in your mod folder like this here. Just create a common and then move these in here. I have a few other ones just because I altered a little bit more of the game. Like I added colonial regions and I added ideas for my nations. And I'll make a separate video for national ideas and traditions because that's a little more complicated. And if I did in this video, it'd just be too long. So yeah, you'll want to bring those 4 into this common folder. Then we'll be going back and go to your decisions. You'll want to make a decisions folder. This is the actual decision to make the country. The little the green banner that you see in the game under your national decisions. This is how this appears. So we don't actually need to grab any of these. You can if you'd like. It won't change anything. I like to use these kind of as reference. And I'll kind of show you how to do that as we move along, but you will at least need a decisions folder in your mod folder. You want to bring over GFX if you want to make a custom flag for your mod. We just need the flags folder. These have all the flags in the game, and we'll use one of these again as reference as we make our own flag. You'll need, let's go back, history of countries. Countries. This just basically defines kind of the country. You'll need that over here. Localization, you'll need countries and maybe text. You won't need much though. Why do I have 2 text? And you won't need map. That's simply for my mod. So once your mod folder kind of looks like what I have here, I'll go over it again. In the common, you should have colonial regions, countries, country colors, and country tags, cultures if you want to add one. In decisions, you just need the folder. And we may bring over a couple country decisions from the actual game files just so we can work off of them. In GFX, you need flags. In history, you need countries. And in localization, I'd say you need text, countries, and that's good. So now that we have the files that we're actually going to mod, we can actually go in and start creating our nation. So I'm going to be creating a nation while I work through this tutorial with you called Deseret. It was a proposed state in the United States back in the 19th century. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to put it in there. So I'm going to be creating that. You're welcome to use the same information that I'm putting in, or if you want to just follow along and whatever country you had in mind, you can go ahead and make that while the video is going. So go into your common and then country tags. This is where we're going to start. You should have a 00_countries text file. We're going to edit it with Notepad++. And here it shows you all the different tags for the different countries in the game. The important thing to remember about tags is that each one is unique. No two countries can have the same tag. It's how the game recognizes the country. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that the tag that you're planning on using isn't already taken. So for Deseret, I was going to use DES. So I'm going to do, oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to do a quick find of Deseret, and it's not used as a tag, so we're good. Now, just for organizational sake, you may want to put it in these little subdivisions that they have. Like mine's going to be a colonial nation, so I'm trying to find the colonial. Pretty sure there's a colony little subdivision somewhere. There they are. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine here. All you're going to do is just have it in the same format as everything else. Countries, Deseret.text. Just like that. Go ahead and save it. Now we're going to go back to our common folder. And that's it. That's all we're doing for country tags. We're going to go to countries. And here we're going to, you see a list of all the countries already created in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one that is similar to my country and then alter it a little bit using the same syntax that they use. So since mine is a colonial nation in the Americas, I've already created another country, the Republic of Texas, and I'm going to use that kind of as my base since they're pretty similar. If you're doing a country in Europe, you may want to use a country that is similar to your country. Like if it's, I don't know, something in the France region, you may want to use one of those France vassal states. Or you can write it all from scratch. That's up to you. But I'm going to use Texas. So in the countries file, basically what you're defining is what graphic they need to use for your tech group. Here it's Western. The actual color of your country, the color that appears on the map. The groups that you take that the country would take historically. If the AI was running the game, what idea groups would it generally take? So that's what this defines. Historical units are what units they would usually use. Monarch names is kind of a name pool that they can grab from for your monarchs. These are obviously all first names. Leader names is the same thing, but for your leaders and then for your ships. So I'm just going to go in here and change things a little bit. Now, color-wise, this is using an RGB color code, and there are a lot of RGB color code generators online. So you can see I've been here quite a bit. So I'm just going to find a color that looks suitable for my country. I was thinking kind of an orangish color. So maybe something like here. I don't want it to be that bright. So I'm going to go kind of a little, man, that is an ugly color. Maybe something like around there-ish. So 223, 175. And then 78. Cool. So that's our new color. I'm fine with these historical group ideas just because they're similar countries. I'm fine with these historical units. Monarch names, they're pretty much all the same. Leader names. I am going to change ship names just because we're not in Texas. I'm not very familiar with the Midwest region, so I'm going to kind of pull from states. I'm pretty sure Wyoming was somewhat incorporated in Deseret. Maybe. I know Nevada was. Just a few more. Pretty sure Arizona had part of it too. So, okay, that's all we need. Technically, it's a landlocked country. It'll be a landlocked country pretty much, so I don't think ship names will really matter. Okay, cool. So once you have everything the way you'd like it, with your monarch names and your leader names and your ship names and your groups and your color and whatnot, go ahead and go up here and you need to save as. So I'm going to save it as Deseret as a text file. Name it the country name, but don't use spaces. So if it's a country that, like the Republic of, I would just name it. You saw how this was just called Texas. In the game, the country is the Republic of Texas, but I just simplified it to Texas because the game doesn't like spaces in your text file. So if it's something like that, I would just use the primary name. If not, like I'm just going to use Deseret. Cool. Now we're going to go back to common, country colors, and edit that with Notepad. This is the colors. This file isn't terribly important. It's the file, or it's the colors of your infantry. So if you look really closely at your army, it's the colors that are on your uniform and kind of your nation colors. I generally just do, like for the United States, it would be red, blue, and white. For Texas, it's red, blue, and white. So it doesn't terribly matter, but you might as well do it right. Deseret. For most of these, you can kind of see the syntax based on what all the other files are. So, like I'm just going to kind of copy here and bring it down here. And, whoops. I think the colors, they don't really have an official flag or anything. I'm pretty sure that the colors are like a dark blue like this, 00102. White. Pretty sure that's white. Nope. Other one. 255, 255, 255. And then I think the other color is like a gold. 255, 2550. Okay. So once you have that finished, just go ahead and save the text file. You don't need to save as or anything. Okay, then we're going to go back to common. And let's say you do want to create your own culture for this country. It's pretty easy, so I'll just go through it really quickly. All the cultures are broken up into culture groups. So you can see the Germanic cultures, the Scandinavian cultures, the British cultures, blah, 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 blah. So find what group you think your culture would be in. And you can copy the same dynasty names that you have in your country's text file or country's text file, because you can kind of see a list here. And basically the way you're going to do, like let's say I wanted to make a Midwest culture. I'd come down here, make sure it's okay. So I'd rename it Midwestern. The primary is that's asking for the country that primarily uses this culture, like who really uses it. So in this case it'd be DES. And then just whatever other dynasty names that you had in your country's file you can use here again. Although, actually, you can't. These are last names. So you'd have to pick a whole new pool of last names. But if it's like a French country, you can just grab all the French last names or whatever from other files here. So that's how you would create your own culture. But I'm not going to create my own culture. I don't think Deseret deserves its own culture. So I'm going to save that. Cool. And we're done with the common side of things. Oops, this is the wrong one. We're done with the common side of things. So now we're going to go back here and we're going to go to history. Countries. And once again, we're going to have to create our own text file. So I'm going to go back down to Texas. I would recommend you do the same country that you used before, or I guess if you made your own, you could do that. But I'm coming back here to Texas. This page it doesn't provide as much information, but at the same time, it provides a lot of information. For countries that have a lot of history, like they have certain rulers that are supposed to pop up at certain times, like let's say France has certain kings that are supposed to come at certain times, this file will tell the game when that is. So you can see here at 1402, Charles d'Albret, or however you would say it, pops up. So you can, if you want to create your own people like this, you can do that. I haven't done that personally. It's something I need to do. But this file is basically telling the game it's plutocracy, decentralization against centralization, innovative against narrow-mindedness, it's mercantilism, offensive, defensive, land, naval, its primary culture union group, the religion in the country, the technology group. If it has any historical rivals, you can add this and where its capital is. A lot of these lines aren't necessary, like historical rival isn't necessary, cultural group union isn't necessary. You can see here mine's a little more sparse. So the only thing I'm going to change in this file is primary culture group. See, mine doesn't even have a primary culture group. Or a primary culture, I mean. So I'm going to say that its primary culture is... I'm not even sure if I need that line, to be totally honest. I'm going to look through and see if I need it. Because I don't think... Oh, I guess I did. Because the problem is that it's going to be a colonial nation. So it's really just going to have whatever culture the country that settles it would have. We're going to look at Canada's. Oh, yeah, they do. Okay, we're just going to do it as English. Religion, Catholic, and its capital. Ooh, I don't remember where its capital is. I'll go back and change this later. But you get the idea of this file. So we're going to go and save that, save as your tag, space, hyphen, space, country name. Here you can have spaces, as you can see here. You can pull out your full name. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is the tag. That's how the game associates everything, is through the tag. So we're going to save that. Cool. We're going to go back. That's all we need for the history file. We just need to have it there. Now we're going to go to decisions. This is kind of the big file. This determines a lot about our country, and it's kind of the most important one because it's a little more complicated, and it's pretty important for actually forming the country. So I'm going to, let's open this up. I would find a country here that is similar to your country. So if you're doing something in the Nordic region, I would do Scandinavia. Just, it makes it easier. So for myself, I'm going to use the Texan Nation file, which I created myself. So we're just going to go through and I'm going to kind of talk you through each line because this is definitely the more complicated of all the files. So in this file, it's opening up with country decisions and then the name of the decision. So this is Texan Nation. I'm going to change that to Deseret Nation. Is it a major decision? Yes. This determines whether or not it shows up in the green banner or the kind of bluish banner in the game. So the potential, there's kind of three main sections of this file. One major section is potential. So these are the outlying rules that a country has to go under before it can even see the decision. So for the country to actually see the decision, Texas cannot exist. That's what this line means. This line means that it was a colonial nation. You can see here. And it has to be in colonial Mexico. Now, let's look at a nation that isn't a colonial nation for y'all's sake, because it is different. So we're going to go to, it doesn't really matter, Irish nation. So here it's saying it's the Irish nation decision. The potential is that Ireland cannot exist. You cannot be the papal state, or you cannot be the Holy Roman Empire. That's what these knots mean. Your primary culture has to be Irish. This line is pretty much universal in every decision. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but I know that it's in every single one. This is saying, does it have to be a colonial nation? No. You also need this line. Not sure why, but you need it. Now, the next section is called allow. The allow is if you meet all of these requirements and you can see the decision. Now, this is what allows you to unlock the decision. Your admin tech has to be at 10. You cannot be at war. You cannot be a subject. And you have to own these provinces. Now, the last section is called the effect. And this is if you meet the prior two requirements, what will happen if you accept the decision? And this is what would happen. Your tag would change to IRE, Ireland. You would get a country modifier where you get centralization for, this is in days. You get 10 prestige. The AI will do factor, this is in binary, or something similar to binary that looks like binary to me because I don't really know code. So basically 1 is yes, the AI will do it. 0 is no, the AI will not do it. So going back to my nation, we're going to go to the allow. The admin tech has to be 15. I'm going to change that down to 10 since this nation isn't as powerful. Oops. Is a former colonial nation? Yes. Is it war? No. Now, these are the required provinces which I need to change, and I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, and I'm not sure if I can open Europa with y'all being able to see it. It won't take me very long to see the provinces, but I'm just not sure. I guess I'll try. We'll see what happens. And capital scope. Capital scope is kind of a cool mechanism if you don't want someone to have to own a specific number of provinces, or if you do want them to own specific provinces, capital scope also requires that you have their capital, the country's capital has to be in a certain region. So in this case, it's in the colonial Mexico region, but you can put it in any region. Your capital scope has to be in the Scandinavian region, which is kind of a cool modifier. I like it. So for this, the capital scope, I'm going to change this. Colonial region has to be in colonial, I think it's just colonial basin, in the Great Basin colonial region. And not exists Deseret. We don't care about Texas in this. So here, the effect is that the tag change is going to change Deseret. This line here, that basically allows you to change to a different idea group. You get unique national ideas and traditions. Not entirely sure what this means. I think it was supposed to add a claim to all of colonial Mexico, but I don't think it really does that in game. Random owned province, you get a 1 base tax. You get the country modifier, you get prestige. I changed it to where your capital automatically changes to a certain province, and I'll probably do that the same with Deseret. Here you also get, if you're in the Texas nation, this is basically saying that you get a change culture group to colonial America, and then your primary culture also changes to Texan. So since I didn't create a unique culture for Deseret, I'll be taking this away. AI will do, yes, an AI importance factor. This is on a scale from 0 to 400. 400 means that the AI will do everything in its power to form this nation. 0 means it will absolutely not, like it basically won't form the nation. So I set it at 200. The AI, if there's a independent colony in the Great Basin region that meets these requirements, it'll probably try and form this nation, which I kind of like. So I'm going to go here, save as Deseret nation. Save. I'm going to open EU really quickly, and I don't know if y'all will be able to see this or not, but I'm going to gather the provinces really quickly that I need that I want to use for Deseret as requirements. So if y'all can see this, then awesome, but I'm not sure you will. So we'll see. But if you can get past the decision text file, that's easily the hardest one. And there are a lot of cool different lines and mechanisms that you can use in that file that I haven't even fully explored. There are a lot of like requirements or effects that happen after you form a nation that can be really unique, but you kind of have to go through the game files themselves and read up on each one because there isn't really a guide for any of this kind of thing. So as you come along them, you'll be able to add more unique flavors to forming your nation. For those of you that don't know about province IDs, I realize that maybe not everyone knows about that. They're basically the tagging system for each province. So, just like each country has a different tag, each province has a different tag, although the province tags are in numbers. So, to look at these numbers, you can either find a map online or you can go into the game itself and go to the console by pressing the squiggly button above tab and typing in debug mode like this. And this will allow you to see the province ID number for each of these. You can see it there under Utah 2073. So I'm going to go to colonial regions. I want the capital to be Great Basin. So 1808 is the capital. I'm going to require that you also have Utah 2073. That you also have, I'll make a Wyoming 2067. Panaminta Valley 2072. Nevada 2074. Tehachapapi. I completely butchered that. Tahoe. Nevada. Show. And Shoshone Falls. I guess I should just go ahead and add Red Lake in there, since it's the only one right there. Cool. I hope y'all were able to see that. I don't know if you were or not. But, if so, great. If not, I'm sorry. So, I'm going to go ahead and add in these province IDs here. 1808. These names don't matter. That's for you. And I don't really want them here. I put them in my Texas file for some reason. It does help a little bit with the organization part of it, just knowing what provinces are required, but then I'd have to go back and learn all the names, and I don't want to do that. Okay, 1808, 2073, 2067, 2072, 2074, 2068, 2070. We're gonna have to make more. 2076, 2075. Oh man, we're almost done. 2071 and 2069. And now we have to do the same thing for is core. Ugh. Actually, let's try something. Owns is core. Replace. Woohoo! Yay, technology. Okay. So now we have everything set up that should be able to form our nation. So I'm going to exit this, and then we're going to go ahead and try it and see if we can actually form this new nation. If you've done everything up to this point the way that I have been doing it, we're hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be able to create this nation. If not, then we have a problem somewhere in our lines of text, and we'll have to go back through and fix it, which is a bummer, but it happens a lot. But I think everything we've done up to this point has been right, so I am hopeful. The easiest way to check a nation is just to go through console commands and set up things the way you want them, I have found. So we're just going to start with the U.S. because it's already a colonial nation. It's an independent colonial nation. And for my purposes, that's what I need. So I'm going to open up the console here. And I'm just going to go through and basically take every one of these. So we have to own this one first, so I can get over here. Oops. Okay, so we're gonna own 2067. Population 2067 1000. And we're gonna have to go through and do this for all of them. I really hope that y'all can see this. It's gonna suck if you can't. I guess we can edit it out. But if you can see it, that'd be perfect. If you're not doing a colonial nation and it's just a normal formable nation, then this part will be much easier for you because you can just go and adjust what you need. Colonize or okay. I'm gonna go ahead and save it here because if something goes wrong and I want to come back to it, I do not want to have to do all that again. So quick save saves a lot of time. Now, we're gonna move our capital to the Great Basin region, which should then hopefully allow us to see the decision. So we're gonna go here. Our capital is now in Sierra Nevada. Woo! So we're gonna go to national decisions. And it's not here. Poop. Okay. Well, that's not good. That's actually kind of surprising. I was expecting it to be here. Oh. It's probably because I still have a couple problems. I just got so distracted. Okay, let's try it again. And this is why I saved it, because I do not want to have to go through and own and add populations to all of these provinces. So if this doesn't fix it, I'm actually not entirely sure what will, because everything seems pretty clean in the text. So I guess I'll have to go through and look at it again. There it is. Perfect. Okay. I was scared for a second. Okay, so cool. You can see we're going to fix this later. But the most important, that's easy. That's localization. But the hardest part is making sure that this all works. So it's showing I have to have an administrative technology of 10. Form a colonial nation. Is that not a subject nation in peace? Blah, 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 blah. I own all the properties. Provinces. My capital is in the colonial basin region. And Deseret does not exist. So we're going to pull back a little bit and we're going to go ahead and click accept. So now here we can see country changes to Deseret. Gain one random thingy. So we're going to go and accept it. And it works. It may not look like it works, but it works. So we're going to go back and fix some of this stuff to where it looks a little prettier. So go ahead and open up your decisions or wherever we're at in the mod folder. And we're going to open up localization. Now, go to countries. We're going to edit that. And this just basically has all the tags. And what localization does is, so the game looks at the tag, sees the tag, and recognizes that, oh, CRE is Creek. Now, the game thinks it's called CRE until localization translates it basically for it and says, you may see CRE, but you need to display Creek. So that's why the country shows as DES, because that's my tag. So we're going to do DES semicolon quotations Deseret. And that should fix it. For some reason, it was showing colonial basin as not defined, which isn't right. But I guess I'll redefine it. And then just go back here and look at the other things that need to be defined. I believe the title needed to be defined. We don't have a flag yet, but we'll work on that. And I think that's it. So we're going to go here, save this, and then go back to localization, and we're going to open up text English. That's not the right one. Open up this text English, not the one with the 0815, just text English. And we're going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to go not to the bottom, but you can go to the bottom because I need to change something up here. So this line is whatever in your decisions file. So in this file here, it says Deseret Nation. Whatever this name is here, so Deseret Nation, go ahead and copy that and go to your text one, Deseret Nation, and then title. This will be what the actual decision says. So form Deseret. So that's actually going to be what the title of it is whenever you see it in your thingy, in the decisions folder. So we're going to exit out of this one last time, reopen it, and everything should look the way it should. And you kind of have to keep guinea pigging this until everything is localized. And basically, if you see something that's not localized, something that isn't right, you can just go to your text file there, then to the actual text_1 English file. And however it appears in the game, so let's say it says DES_nation, you can just go to the text file and write out DES_nation semicolon, and then in quotation marks, you can put whatever you actually want that text to say. So we're going to go back to Deseret. Play. I think I should just get rid of the incognito. Yeah, okay. Oh gosh. So we're going to change our capital one last time. Great Basin, blah, 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 blah. Okay, form Deseret. I don't know what these two are, to be totally honest. I've never seen those before, so hopefully they don't pop up for you. But no idea what they are. So it now says form Deseret. Oh, I did not see that. We need to come up with a nation description. Looks like I need one for all of my nations. Well, that will be easy to do. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But it shows everything correctly. Now, you can see that Great Basin is correct. You can see that Deseret is now correct. So we're going to go and click accept. And now the nation is correct. So all we're missing now is a flag and I guess that little description thing that I didn't know existed. So perfect, looks great. That's exactly what I wanted. So we're gonna go back to create the description. It's just gonna look like this. And then you can write however you want to describe your nation there. And then just save that. I'm going to do that later on my own because I really don't know what I'm going to put there. So for the last part, we have to do the flag. The flag's a little tricky. You just have to make sure you keep certain elements about it. All the flags are the same. They're saved at, might want to download a program called paint.net. It's free. It's kind of like a free Photoshop program. But the only thing to remember about the flag is that they're all in a TGA file, which is a little strange. That's the only tricky thing about them, is that they're in a TGA file. So I'm trying to find one here. So let's say for Yukon. Actually, I really like the Cascadia one. Where's that? Here. Open with paint.net. So the only thing you really need to remember about these is that they're saved in a TGA file. You need to have them in a file size of 512 by 512. And then you just save them as the tag name. So this tag is pau.tga. You save it in the flag folder. Just make sure it's, or I guess here it says 128 by 128. And I actually made this in PowerPoint. And there it's 512 by 512. But yeah, you just save it in your flags picture. Just make sure it has the tag as the name, and that'll be your flag. And that's pretty much it on how to create your own nation in Europa Universalis. If you have any questions, let me know. This is just kind of a rough overview. You may, like I said, you'll have to kind of explore the actual game's country decision making if you want to add more specific or more unique formation regulations, just because these are kind of the simple ones, basically owning certain provinces, having your capital in certain regions. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be making another video about unique national ideas and traditions. It's just a little lengthy and I didn't want to put it on the end of this video. But thanks for tuning in, and I hope this helped. Happy creating!